I'm thankful for that, because clearly my talking about it wasn't enough articulation for her to really get what it is that drives me. You may not be able to execute like you see me doing, because that's not unrealistic, right? But finding one good setup and knowing that that's enough and stopping until you grow in your own personal ability, that's the proper way of learning. That's a real mentorship right there. That's it. That's being taken under the wing by someone that knows how to do it. You don't have any animosity because you're not being asked to pay for something you can barely afford. And then you're worrying about, is it really worth the amount of money I paid? No, no amount of money could be paid to me to justify what I'm willing to do next year. You couldn't pay me. It's because I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to help you. I want to see you succeed. And I want to have a small part in that. Not because I want you to worship me. Once you get there, hey man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's enough. You don't have to have a memorial to me on your fucking YouTube. Okay. You don't need to have a license tag. ICT got me here. Fuck all that. That's worship. I don't want that. Just acknowledge, give me thanks, and that's it. That's all. That's all I ask for. Isn't that reasonable? That's reasonable, isn't it? I'm not going to ask you to do something beyond just working towards it, the effort. And I want to share that moment with you, a small moment of it. It's all yours. It's all your credit. But I just want to have that moment where I can look at you and say, I told you, if you just gave yourself the chance, look where you're at now. Look what you were able to accomplish. Look at where you're at right now and what you can do. That feeling of accomplishment, that you grinded through all the bullshit, all the horse shit, everybody doubting you, your fucking friends, your fucking spouse, your fucking anybody online ever said anything about you. You know what it feels like. They said something to you. You got a chip on your shoulder. That shit falls off and smooths out real quick when you start making $30,000 a month. Real fucking smooth. You ain't got no problems then. I want to see and hear your testimonies. I don't want to see it in the text. I want to see people's faces this time next year. I want to see them say, this totally transformed everything. And this is what I'm going to do with it. I have had so many personal testimonials sent to me like that with video. And my wife and I, my kids, I'm moved. Because I know what it was like for me. It was very, very hard. And I didn't have any of this support structure you guys have. And this is my entire life. I pour everything into my students because I want them to succeed. I don't want them to have any of the hardships. But some of you fight me and you arm wrestle me and you want to do it your own way. And I know it's not the right way. And you don't know that it's not the right way. Everything in your life's about to change. You don't understand how much yet. And I'm trying to do the best I can to make it a little bit easier. And for some of you, you're going to take this skill and do amazing shit with it. You're going to live a totally different lifestyle. And I don't want you to be selfish with it. When you see somebody in need, help them. Not when they ask you for it either. Now, I'm not talking about, I'm going to help them by teaching them. That's not what the fuck I said. Help them. They need something. Provide it. Do it anonymously. You see somebody in the grocery store, they're pushing a cart around. You can read their face. You can see it. They're broke. Come behind them and pay them. Tell the cashier, I got them. I do that every time I go to the grocery store. When I first got with my wife, she was like, what are you doing that for? She didn't understand it. I said, never tell me that again. Don't ever speak to me about it. Don't ever ask me to justify why I'm doing it. You want to touch somebody's heart, you do that. And when they turn to you and they say, you just let me have enough money for the rest of the week. The rest of the month, I don't have my rent money, but I can feed my kids now because of that. It costs you nothing, man, to do stuff like that. It costs you nothing. And think about how many times you were standing right next to somebody that could have used a hand like that and you didn't do a fucking thing because it felt uncomfortable. When you live your life like this and you want to do it for people, and I've had people say, no, I don't want you to do that. Some of them actually cussed me out. I didn't ask you for a handout. It's going to happen sometimes. But you want to leave an impression, a good one. And when you start doing things like that for other people, it's contagious. And you want to do it more. And it changes you. Because as a 20-year-old, I was a real arrogant prick. And I was self-centered and it was all about me. I never would have helped anybody else in the store. I never would have gave them anything. I never would have bought them a car. I never would have gave them a house. I never would have done any of those things. I never would have paid for their children to get through school. I never would have gave their kids clothes, school supplies the entire time they had their whole schooling. I never would have done those things. I was all about me. I had to make me feel good. And the more I did for me, the shittier I felt about everything I was doing. I felt like a vacuum. I couldn't fill it. Everything I tried to do that was all about me, looking good, driving this, living like this, spending that. The more I poured into it, the more empty I was. The more money I made, the less I felt I had any. I didn't have any substance, none. So you have to have a planned direction, what you're going to do when you have this money coming in. What are you planning to do with it? I see a lot of people, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be this and this. It all changes when it's all about them. Because when I was 20, I was the same way. And don't think that won't help you be a better person when you start doing, because it will. And then when you start trading larger, you start thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm not taking this trade to do something, for me financially, which drives people into dumb decisions, like it did with me when I was 20. June 1995, I was dating my oldest son's mother, and I had already found out that she was a married woman. She was pregnant, due to give birth in October, and she threatened that she was going to raise the kid, which I didn't know if it was a boy or girl yet, with her husband at the time. And then he would call me out and threaten me, saying that he was going to let the child hurt itself and he wasn't going to do anything about it. And you can only take so much of that kind of shit before you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do. And to make this woman feel like she had a chance with me, so that way I could see him born and my name on the birth certificate, which would make custody issues a lot easier for me. I asked her, I said, what would you like to do? Because she didn't believe that I wanted to be with her, which I didn't. So she goes, let's go to Hawaii. Because you got all this money, let's go to Hawaii. I said, okay. So I said, try to find a flight and a hotel and we'll go. And I meant it. So she says, there's nothing until next week. I said, well, we can wait till next week. No, let's go. I want to go this weekend. I said, well, name something else. Let's go to Bermuda. All right, find something in Bermuda. So she found, it was called Sonesta Beach Hotel. It was the largest hotel on the south tip of Bermuda. And gorgeous. It's not there anymore. Hurricanes tore it off, but you can Google it and see it was there. But it had 3 5-star restaurants in it. and just amazing. But we flew out there, and the whole time I was there, the majority of the time that we were on that island, I was in the room. We went out to eat. I didn't want to be with her in public. I didn't want to do anything with her. We took one scooter ride. I felt my son kicking me in the back. But apart from that, it was miserable. And what was I doing? I was spending money on something that was not wholesome. It was just to let her believe that I wanted to be with her. And her husband, back then we had pagers. We didn't have like the ease of everything we have right now. Like I'm talking to you on this cell phone, and you're listening to me everywhere in the world. That whole business of communication wasn't available to us yet. So we did everything through pagers, and we would send messages through the numbers. So because he was always constantly sending me voicemails in the evening time saying, what he was going to do and how he's going to take me to the bank and he was going to do this and do that, which I understand. He's mad. I didn't know his wife was married to him. I didn't think she was married, but I ended up getting her pregnant, and I was stuck. I had to figure out the best way to manage it, and I didn't have anybody that could tell me the best advice, obviously, because who gets in those types of environments, right? And I was young, I was stupid, and with money and no real guidance of any kind. And here we are, we're in Bermuda, and I had to just let this motherfucker know. I said, "We're in Bermuda, motherfucker." And I typed it out in the code of, when you look at an old push button phone, one is ABC, two, so on. It's 3 letters each button or whatever. And you would have to sit down and write the numbers out and then figure out. That's how we did the shit. you young folks are like, what the hell? You older folks know exactly what I'm talking about. You're laughing like, yeah, we used to do that shit. But I wanted him to know that I did that. I flew his wife to Bermuda, and she lied and said she was doing something with her girlfriends on a pool league in Vegas. And I wanted him to know that, you're a piece of shit for doing what you're doing. I'm an asshole for sleeping with your wife, but I didn't know I was sleeping with your wife. I thought I was sleeping with a single woman that didn't have a kid. And obviously, when she got pregnant, she laid that on me. It's my responsibility. It's mine. It is what it is. But when you have money and you do things like that, or if you get caught up in situations like that, and young men, listen to me, you think having lots of money, you're going to run around and be promiscuous. A lot of women, different women all the time. Everybody's in this Andrew Tate shit. But when you're young, like I was young, I wanted to live a certain life. I wanted the Ric Flair lifestyle. I grew up listening and watching this guy carrying on. And long and short of it is when I got the money, I started doing that shit. Renting limousines, going to, really fancy restaurants, taking all my friends out there and just trying to live it up because I wanted that public appreciation that, hey, look at that person right there. Because remember, I grew up modest. $350 a week was a lot of money. That was my grandfather's earnings at Essex Lumber Yard. And we lived in what was called Cardboard City. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was Villa Gardens. Okay. And that is white trash as you can get. That's where we come up from, Middle River. And when you get a taste of having money and you heard other people in other neighborhoods and other areas in the state and local area where you've grown up, in other schools that are better and their kids and shit, and you're fucking their asses up in fights, but they're beating you in all the opportunities in life because they are in a better position because they can afford to go to better schools. They have a family that has both the father and the mother, and they have advantages that you don't have. I had all that stuff growing up, and when I had a taste of real money, I wanted the exact revenge on everybody. Like it was like a fucking movie, dialogue in my head all the time. Like I wanted to show the world, I'll be back, Terminator bullshit, And the more I did that kind of stuff, and my friends would be like, man, this is awesome. What they're saying is, it's awesome. I ain't got to pay for it, and you're paying for it. That's what they're saying. And that's exactly what your friends are going to say to you. But you're going to interpret that as, you're awesome. You're going to hear that. Your subconscious is going to hear, you're awesome. No, you're a sucker. Just like I was being a sucker. Okay. I got wrapped up into a married woman issue because my friends told her I had money. She saw I had money, but she didn't know to what degree. And I didn't know she knew that. So when she invites me into a situation where I thought we were going to be friendly, we got friendly, but it cost me a lot. It cost me 21 years. So I had to live a life a different way, hide things from her. And no, I wasn't a deadbeat dad. I had joint custody, but I beat her in child support. The courts came to the conclusion that, I only had to pay $14 a month towards health insurance. And they said, because it's only $14, they just waived it. And I carried health insurance on him. So winning is a thing for me. Okay. I try to make sure that I stay ahead of everything as much as I can. And I had to learn that from hardships, doing dumb shit, school of hard knocks, getting into situations that money put me into and not knowing how to handle myself. So if you're thinking you're going to take this stuff and run around and be an Andrew Tate type fucking clown, look what just happened to him. Look what happened to him. Okay. If you try to be the hardest nail, somebody's going to act like the fucking hammer and nail your ass. Okay. And it ain't gonna be somebody from fucking Texas. It's going to be somebody from, some authority, some figure that's going to come down and squeeze your ass. Okay. And let you know that you're insignificant and you can be touched. But your friends and your family are going to paint a picture for you that isn't going to be what you're expecting on either spectrum. They're either going to be jealous of you, like my family was. They literally were so jealous, and then they wanted things given to them for free. My aunt and uncle, who I paid room and board to, my uncle not so much, but my aunt really took advantage of what I was earning under her roof. But if she would have said, pay me more per week, I would have done that. Not, can you pay for a new pool liner? Can you pay for a new roof on our house? Can you pay for new furniture? Can you pay for our vacation to Florida when we can't afford to do it and we want to go with your aunt that does have money and we don't want to be embarrassed by that, and we don't have money to pay for this, that, and the other thing, and all those guilt trips that you don't realize that you're experiencing, that your friends and family will put on you. Those things crop up like easy when you have money. You might not see it, or you might see it and it make you turn it off and say, you know what, I ain't got to deal with none of you, which is eventually what happened. And I spent 10 years away from most of my family. My own children, not what I'm referring to there, but I'm talking about cousins and aunts and uncles and things. I distanced myself from all of them because, they didn't like, I was able to find success, and they worked their whole life and owe still money on their homes that they had to remortgage and refinance and get equity out and live their lifestyle and owe 3 times what their house cost back in the 80s. And you can't sell it for what they got wrapped up in debt. So they're miserable people. And they are the product of what Alexander Elder talks about in his first portion of his book, Trading for a Living. The children of alcoholics are absolutely victimized. And they grow up with mindsets that are so warped, even if they never touch a drop of alcohol, they're still fucked up. And my aunts and my uncle and my mother are a living testimony to that shit. And they never really amounted to anything, but they're miserable. Like, I couldn't be around them in the holidays because all they talk about is everybody else and how so-and-so's this and so-and-so's that. And I'm listening to them. I'm like, you got nothing. You're all broke. You're miserable. You're in debt up to your eyeballs. And you got the audacity to talk about other people. And that's why I said I can't be around you at the holidays. It's a drain. I feel like vampires suck the life out of me. And for 10 years, my whole existence around the holidays has been a much better experience. Keeping toxic people out of your life. And in the beginning, when you start finding success, you're going to wrestle with that. Once you realize that they're toxic, and if you can't talk them into understanding they're being toxic, and it's not going to be probably successful if you try to do it anyway, the sooner you get away from that shit, the better. Because it will mess with you. You'll feel guilty about not being around them, like you're being arrogant, or you're being a jerk, you're being pompous. You're not. You're living your fucking life. And there ain't no shame in that. What says you have to be around toxic people? Who says that you have to be around people that is constantly drama-ridden? Ate up with drama. If that's what your life is right now, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to make more of it because you have money. That's what's going to happen. You want to see somebody that is successful, that has their shit together? How much drama they got going on around them? How much are they providing in terms of drama? How much are they producing of that drama? That's how you tell whether somebody's successful or not. Because if they can find themselves in a position where they can just remove themselves from drama and not give a fuck what anybody says, who cares? Whether it be friends or family, who cares? That's successful because they know that they can't change that. You're not going to be able to change, especially if you're a young person. You're not equipped to. You don't have the worldly experience that, unfortunately, like everybody else tells you right now, and I was told the same thing. You'll understand when you get older. Well, at 50, I know a whole lot more than I did when I was 20. And the ass backwards way of thinking about money and relationships and people are totally different now. It's diametrically opposed to what I felt and experienced as a young man. And coming up and making lots of money, that experience is, well, if you're not equipped mentally to handle it, you'll self-destruct. And while I wasn't a drinker and I didn't use drugs, my vice was pride and arrogance. So you think I'm arrogant now? I'm not. I was absolutely disgusting. And because I had a chip on my shoulder, because my first wife leaving me for an older man, and she was young, wasn't even 18 yet, and the whole neighborhood knew about it. So the whole neighborhood shut his business down, ran up a bill and a tab for groceries, and never paid it. And that was their way of getting back at what he did to me and my family. I didn't ask any of them to do that. Think about that. That's instant karma. And she's living a life with some guy, honestly, 20 minutes from where I live right now. And she's in no better position than she was when she left. And I'm living a totally different life. And I have been often wondering, what she would think if she knew. And you're going to do that, young men. And young women, for the ones that find success in this, and maybe some men have cast you to the side because they didn't want to do anything with you anymore. They found something better in their eyes and chased something else. And as a man, there comes a time when the term chasing tail or chasing someone for another knock on your bedpost, that's no longer a pursuit. You want to have a meaningful relationship. You want to be able to sit down and have a conversation with your best friend who you're also intimate with and that you raise children with and you can confide in and you can trust your finances with. That's a life partner. That's someone that your whole life revolves around. And you want to do everything to make them happy. I am at that point where my wife is asking that of me. She's been very patient with me and allowed me to divulge a lot of my insights and experience and time with all of you. And I think that's reasonable. And I know it's going to be met with some people saying, you're a jerk because you don't do this anymore and blah, blah, blah. Just know that I know that some of you are going to say those types of things. And I know that you probably don't really mean it in the way it's going to come out, but I don't give a fuck. Okay. I have a wife that I want to maintain happiness with. I have a family. I'm a 50-year-old man that can still boot, scoot, and boogie. No, I'm not a country fan, but I want to be able to do that while I have time. and things might be getting harder, as I've been talking about. And I want to try to jump on that opportunity while I can. But I also want to go out with a clear conscience, knowing that I did everything I could except for trade your account for you. So if that isn't enough after next year, I'm going to apologize and say, I'm sorry I couldn't live up to your false expectations and unrealistic expectations, because none of that shit was promised to any of you anyway. But I know the result will be testimonials like I've already received from all around the world anyway. And I think that even if I just got one, a young man from Germany just sent me a card and a little keychain. There was a shamrock. And how it stayed in the envelope, I don't know, because literally the envelope was split on the right side. And all I had to do was pick the envelope up and turn it to its side, and the keychain came out of it. I'm like, how the hell did this come all the way from Germany and not fall out? So he sends me this link to a YouTube channel where he leaves me a message, and my wife and I were watching it, and he was struggling to try to wish us a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and it shows appreciation for what he's learning and such. And it was emotional to watch that, because he didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to do those things at all. And it didn't cost much, I'm sure, in terms of money, but the aspect of him taking the time out to say, hey, look, I appreciate what you've done, and thank you. And he let me see his face. He let me hear his own tongue and his own voice say that. I've had so many of those things, and they're touching, they're moving to me. And I have a face to put to. I have a lot of screen names. I have a lot of student IDs and all these people with names. I don't know how to associate anything with them. Some of you, I know you by your profile picture that ain't even you. It's something, not even a human. It's some kind of icon. But the majority of you, I don't know your voice. I don't know what your face looks like, but I have a lot of them that have shared that with me. And I want that so much, because and I haven't shared them that. Like, I've never put them out there public. I would never do that. They're for me. They're for me and my family. When my wife sees these, number one, she gets to see how it impacts me. And I watched her moved by it, because it makes it more palatable for her. She understands now, when she sees it's not just a video going up on YouTube about a video game. It's like, in her eyes, it's like these folks that make these video game YouTube channels are playing video games, and they're talking shit at once, talking smack. I'm playing you, I'm beating you. That, that's her. That's what she's always viewed it as. Like it's a video game, and I'm just talking to other people I'm competing against, not realizing that I'm pouring myself out into all of your lives and your understanding, so that way you can be better. And when she hears it and she sees it, I'm thankful for that, because clearly my talking about it wasn't enough articulation for her to really get what it is that drives me. All of you, every single one of you, I felt just like you feel or felt when you first started. And it was scary. It was stressful. I felt like I was never going to get it. I felt like I was never going to figure this stuff out. And it just feels good to be in a position where I know that I know, and I can share it with you. I'm so thankful that the Lord has given me time to do it, energy to do it, the resources to do it, and the desire. Because as a young man, I never would have done this. I wouldn't have cared. I liked being the only one that could do it. I got off on that. And that's how you tell maturity. And it slowly happened by looking at people struggling on baby pips and seeing their shit that they tried this and losing money, and they're getting frustrated. And I was sitting back here quietly, unbeknownst to all of you, I have all the answers. And I felt guilty. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be the center of attention as much as some of you people think I do. I don't. And I had to find a way where I could be influential, be under the radar, and still make an impact. So the approach I use is what you've seen. And I'm impressed that it caught fire like it did. No advertising, only people dabbling in it, seeing it work for themselves, and then spreading the word saying, this is what I'm doing. And it's neat. It's really neat to see it because it's not about me. It has nothing to do with me. It's the whole experience of it all. And all of you have unique experiences. And when I get to see you explain what it's done for you, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And I love it. Like, I absolutely love having a face associated with a student that put the time and effort in, and listening to them weep and sharing that with me. You can't put a price tag on that. It stays with you. I'm just very thankful that I've been given an opportunity to be someone like this. And I hope that I'm helpful to all of you in the coming year. And I hope that you learn more from me and you become a better person, not just as a trader, but you're inspired to do more for other people. I think if you measure everything in that, you're going to find a much more purpose-driven life, not about money and things. And you're certainly going to be much more interesting to other people. I learned that the hard way. I thought the bigger wallet, the bigger toys and things would garner that.